All right, so welcome to this version of the database team weekly meeting. Today we do have a hard stop at half an hour past because there's an incident review meeting. So today's incident review meeting is just about gathering more information on the linked incident. Next week will be the actual official incident review. And I'm still getting familiar with the process. I wasn't familiar with it before until I talked to Dave yesterday afternoon. I was the one that put it on the agenda, and he said to keep it there, and we will use today's as information gathering, and then continue that throughout the week with asynchronous conversations, and then have a follow-up next week. So unless there are any questions, move on to the next item. So Thursday, we will go through the retro. For some reason, the bot didn't create our issue this week or this milestone, so I will go and create it later on today. I'm not sure what happened there. I think that's the second time it skipped over this team, but not a big deal. It's pretty easy to create, so I'll take care of that. Quick update on the Database Lab Enterprise Edition procurement. There is no update on progress. I'm going to reach out on the issue to see if there's anything blocking or if anybody's waiting for anything from me. But there's certainly plenty of interest on this moving forward. Talked with Dave Smith about it last night, talked to the scalability team. They're in support of it too. So hopefully we get some progress in moving forward on it before the deadline, which is 1 month from now. Deadline on the trial license that we have with them. So any questions on that? I'll take silence. No. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, everything's cool.
Okay.
What happens if we don't match that timeline, deadline, when we run out of the trial? Would it stop completely, or?
I don't know. I'm assuming yes, that we would lose access to Database Lab at that point in time. But if we get that close, then start having, actually before that, we have a meeting with Nick tomorrow. It's just the regular sync meeting, and that's something that I can just ask him. I will put that on the agenda for tomorrow. I just moved a couple follow-up items from last week because it looks like we didn't follow up on them. So and neither of these are critical. They were just follow-up items that we said we do and did not. And I think I'm probably on the hook for both of them. So I'll make sure they happen.
No, I'm on the hook for both of them.
Okay.
And I will make sure that they will happen, and it's on me.
All right. And that's it for items from last week. And we did not set up any goals for last week, or we didn't explicitly call them out. So let's talk about what we're going to do for this week. One question, how's the audit event swap going?
Yeah, there was a few MRs merged last week. There's one MR that's going to go in review today, and there's one more MR, I think, which will be the last helper that change that will be required. That should be ready hopefully today or tomorrow for review. So I think we should have all the helpers wrapped up this week. That's my goal for this week, is to have that all wrapped up this week and be able to create the actual migration probably next week.
Okay. And then how's the work going on the schema validation? Is that still going on this week?
I haven't worked on that because of the audit event stuff. I did create separate issues for some of the bigger ones that we probably want to tackle, the column type differences that could pose a problem. I think we need to probably, some of that work might be overlapping with the changes to the primary key columns, because we have that same problem in the schema differences, that we have different integer types for the primary key. So if we come up with a solution for one, it will solve the other. As far as changing the text length, which is kind of the other bigger issue, I don't think we really have come up with a really a clear plan on how to tackle that first. It's just going to be it would be a large migration. And I think, especially since it's impacting like CI builds in some of the really large tables, not sure how realistic it is that we would tackle that right now.
Okay. Andreas, you want to verbalize what you're writing about reindexing?
Yeah, so this is about following up with the incident review and any fixes coming out of that, and presumably should also add more ways to observe that reindexing to happen. So maybe report some metrics, and there's also an issue for that in the milestone. And in terms of re-enabling that, I don't want to do this on the next weekend because I'm out next weekend. I don't have time. It's probably the weekend after or later.
Mm-hmm. What else is going on this week? See that Giannis is assigned this one, the query, the AppDex query.
Yeah, I want to do that and finish all the work about the background migrations and the other epics. And I'll be off for 2 days, so it's not like I have too many days. I'll be off Wednesday and Thursday.
Okay, so you're gonna try and finish this week? The query
Yeah,
AppDex,
let's
right?
have this as my actionable. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Did I miss anything?
Also, we have to most probably follow up with a container registry team and review one of their MRs and check. I think this is the last one they want us to check.
Okay. There's nothing else. So I brought up the quarterly OKRs last week and I haven't gotten any pushback. So I will assume that what I put in there is okay.
I have one of them if you have time.
Sure.
That's the next quarterly target for the AppDex query. You know, basically we're in the next quarter, so we have to figure out what we want to try and we'll wrap back into the next quarter. So we have to figure out what we want to target or aim for. I had set 99.9, I think just 99.9 before, which we're already meeting. Just basically saying, you know what, we're good, but we want to make sure we keep it this way. What are folks' thoughts on the target for the AppDex query? Should we try and aim for like 99.99? Is that like, you know, so I'm curious on what your thoughts are.
I would like to check the dashboards on what we get because we got some now that we have data and see how things are. What instances are reporting back to us.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. And we can go async on this too. I just figured since we had a couple of some time, we could chat about it if we made sense. But I'll open up an issue.
The other goal that we could have is reducing the thresholds, right? I think currently those are at, was it 100 milliseconds and 250?
Yes.
For the AppDex, which seems still a bit on the high end, I would say. So this is the other kind of knob that we have to dial that down over time, right?
Yeah, it's a good point. That would obviously require a code change to, I think, get it back. I believe, but maybe not actually. I'm not quite sure how the query all works, but that's a good option as well. Yeah.
So yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No, I was just chattering. Yeah.
So we are constantly getting a 98.9% for the past 3 weeks out of 3,000 instances, or 6,000 the previous week. So yeah, maybe we have to investigate.
Oh, so it's gone down.
Yeah, after the first week it was a 99.7, but there were very few instances, only 7. But after that, after we got a lot of instances, we are at 98.9. And there are also some instances reporting errors, reporting crazy numbers for the query objects, which I have removed from the dashboard. But those are 4 instances that report above 100%.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, actually, so we actually do have some work cut out for us here. We'll have to try and figure out what's causing it, but maybe we leave it at. Should we lower it? I think it's at 99.9 right now, but I'll open up an issue and we can probably think a little bit more. It's probably worth a little more thought than a ad hoc decision here.
Yeah. So from what I can see from the dashboard we have, the enterprise edition ones are reporting lower numbers. So I can see that the versions that have a DAS-EE report below 98%. So this is something we may want to check.
Yeah, interesting. I wonder if it correlates with instance size, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Which dashboard are you looking at, Giannis?
I have created a dashboard in Periscope called Enablement Database Performance Indicators.
Okay, yeah, that's the one I'm looking at. Just want to make sure I'm looking at the right one.
So yeah, if you can check in the top, it is by version, and then it's by week.
Can you share the link for that? I just don't have that handy. Thank you.
So, how do we read those peaks and valleys? So across the bottom, there's versions. Instances. That's not by date, though.
No, the first one is by version. So because we are only tracking one version at the moment, I have left all versions there. After we have more than one version, I will just we can just report the non-EE and the EE version for its minor version, and then it's one by week.
Okay.
And then you can see how many data we get per version and how many don't provide us with data.
So the bi-week, that's only for that week, or is that the running cumulative total?
It's what the instance is reported for that week. And so you can see for the week of 28th of September, we had 6,000 instances reporting data, while for 5th of October, we only have 3,000. Oh, maybe we should refresh this. Yeah. So if I refresh, you get more.
Well, there's not much variance. I mean, week over week, it's pretty close to the same score, 90.989 or 0.99.
Yeah. So yeah, if we want to drill down on that, maybe we can start introducing also the memory those instances have and use additional dimensions there, or the CPU or the size or whatever.
Those bottom two tables, what's that ID column?
Oh, those are raw data. So it's the raw ID. So it's just for exporting if you wanted to export everything.
Oh, okay.
But
Gotcha.
it's yeah, it's just the raw data, and then the malform query. There are like out of all the data we have, 14 instances reporting above 100%, which is interesting. But you know, as long as we only have 14 of them, it's okay. I assume we have a lot of data right now.
Okay. So, Josh, on your question about should we change anything, you're just, I guess, what's the request? Are you want to change the dashboard, or is there work behind the dashboard that like these metrics indicate we need to do something to make some changes?
Yeah, well, I do think it's worth exploring, but
Mhm.
to be very clear on the ask, we have, as part of our performance indicators reviews, which happen once every month, a target that goes along with each dashboard.
Mhm.
That target gets refreshed quarterly. And essentially, we set a target that we think we want to try and get the app decks to that
Mhm.
quarter. So right now we're at 98 point, whatever, and we want to try and achieve, Y by January 31st.
Okay.
So that's what we kind of have to decide this week. We can continue investigation and planning and things like that, obviously ongoing.
All right. And you said you'll set up an issue later for us to continue to discuss this asynchronously.
Yep.
All right. All right. Anything else anybody wants to cover today? Jose, anything from you? Is there anything you need from us?
No news for today or any
Okay.
request. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Well, if there's nothing else, let everybody go. Thanks.